The small mountain town of Stillwater, Washington, had always been the kind of place where strangers waved at each other and news spread faster than the wind. It was a college town built around a shimmering lake, framed by cedar trees and mountain ridges that glowed gold in autumn. The town's heartbeat was Stillwater University, where students laughed on the green, studied in old brick halls, and filled the cafes with chatter. It was the kind of place where tragedy seemed impossible, until November 12, 2022. That morning, the peace shattered. 4 students, Maya Chin, Lena Ortiz, Chris Danner, and Jordan Lee, were found dead in their off-campus house on First Street. The discovery sent shockwaves through Stillwater, through Washington, through the entire nation. There were no suspects, no answers, just a town frozen in disbelief and fear. The call came in just after dawn. A neighbor had seen the front door left wide open, the porch light still burning long after sunrise. Inside, patrol officers found silence and horror. 2 of the students, Maya and Chris, were found in the upstairs bedrooms. Lena and Jordan in the hallway just outside. The crime scene was cold and clinical. No sign of struggle, no forced entry. Whoever had come in knew the house or knew how to move quietly. Sheriff Evelyn Marks, a 20-year veteran of the Stillwater Police Department, arrived within minutes. She stood in the doorway, hand over her badge, fighting the chill in her chest. She'd seen car wrecks, suicides, robberies gone wrong. But this was something else. By the time Detective Raul Vega joined her, crime scene techs were already combing the house. Vega was sharp, patient, known for connecting patterns others missed. He took one look at the scene and said quietly, he knew them. By noon, word spread across campus. Students clustered in dorm lounges, refreshing news feeds in disbelief. The university canceled classes indefinitely. Candlelight vigils appeared overnight. Stillwater's local diner stayed open late that night, filled with reporters from Seattle, Portland, and beyond. Sheriff Marks spoke carefully at the first press conference. "We are following every lead," she said. "Our community is safe." But no one believed her. Detective Vega stayed up late reviewing body cam footage, scrolling through interview notes, marking inconsistencies. He noticed one unsettling detail. The surviving roommates, asleep downstairs, hadn't heard a thing. No screams. No footsteps. Nothing. Who could do this and walk away unseen? Weeks passed. Leads went nowhere. Fear turned into frustration. Detective Vega began running digital forensics on surveillance feeds from nearby neighborhoods. He mapped every car that passed the victim's street between midnight and 4 a.m. One caught his eye, a white sedan making repeated loops past the house. The plate traced back to Elias Ward, a 28-year-old criminology PhD student at Stillwater University. His professors called him brilliant and strange. He studied criminal behavior, particularly the psychology of violent offenders. When Vega and Marks visited his apartment, he was calm. Too calm. The place was immaculate. Books stacked by category, blinds half open, a faint smell of coffee and sanitizer. "Do you know the victims?" Marks asked. "I've read about them," Elias replied, smiling faintly. The news of the Stillwater murders spread faster than wildfire. Reporters flooded the small town, their vans clogging up the narrow roads near the university gates. Candlelight vigils glowed like rivers of stars at night, and the campus once alive with chatter became a graveyard of whispers. Detective Raul Vega sat across from Sheriff Evelyn Marks in a dimly lit diner just off Main Street. Steam rose from their untouched coffee mugs as rain drummed on the window pane. 4 kids, 1 knife, no witnesses, Vega murmured, staring at the evidence file. Whoever did this didn't panic. They knew exactly where to go and when. Marks rubbed her temples. "And we've got the entire country breathing down our necks. FBI, press, parents, everyone wants a monster to blame." Vega leaned back, his gaze distant. "Maybe there isn't a monster. Maybe it's just someone who learned to look like everyone else." Meanwhile, on the edge of campus, Elias Ward, a graduate criminology student with an unsettling calm about him, was scrolling through articles about the murders. His expression was unreadable. He paused on a photo of the victims, Maya, Lena, Chris, and Jordan, then closed the laptop slowly, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his lips. Winter settled into Stillwater like a silent executioner. Snow blanketed the campus lawns, muffling footsteps and thoughts alike. The memorials had faded, but the pain had not. Detective Vega visited the forensic lab again. A young technician, fingers trembling with excitement, handed him a folder. "We got something. DNA partial but promising. It's not in Cody's, but there's a familial match through genealogy databases. Vega's pulse quickened. How close? Second cousin, maybe third. Belongs to someone in the area. Within days, a pattern emerged. The genealogy trail pointed them toward an academic, a teaching assistant named Elias Ward, known for his unnerving intelligence and quiet demeanor. He had tutored one of the victims, Maya Chen, and had access to the same off-campus routes where security footage had gone missing. When Vega and Marks visited his apartment, the door was open. Inside was spotless, almost too clean. A faint scent of bleach lingered in the air. On the desk lay criminology textbooks, a half-written thesis on psychopathy and criminal methodology, and a single Polaroid of Maya. Vega stared at it. "He's not running," he said softly. "He's watching." The next few weeks became a hunt. Every move Elias made was shadowed by investigators. His lectures, his drives to the research lab, even his nightly coffee runs. But he seemed to know. Surveillance cameras would glitch seconds before he passed. His apartment light flickered at odd hours. And each morning, Vega found small slips of paper tucked under his windshield, quotes from Nietzsche, all handwritten. "The abyss gazes also into you." Vega's patience snapped when the lab confirmed it. The DNA from the sheath found at the scene was a match to Elias Ward. They arrested him outside a gas station one freezing dawn. He didn't resist. Didn't even blink. In the interrogation room, Vega sat across from him, voice low. "4 lives. You think about them?" Elias smiled faintly. "Constantly. I wonder what they felt, not fear but understanding. You know, detective, every story needs an ending." "And this is yours," Vega said, sliding the warrant across the table. Elias leaned forward. "No, this is yours." The trial of Elias Ward gripped the nation. True crime podcasts dissected every detail. The courtroom sketches made him look angelic, soft features, calm smile, while the victim's parents stared daggers across the aisle. Prosecutors painted him as a narcissistic killer obsessed with control, someone who treated life as an experiment. Defense claimed he was mentally unfit, a scholar consumed by his own research. But what unsettled everyone most was Elias himself. He never denied it. When asked why, he'd only answer, to see how long truth hides behind grief. Midway through the trial, the defense offered a plea deal. No death penalty, just 4 consecutive life sentences. The courtroom held its breath as Judge Marianne Holt, a stern woman with dark skin, silver hair in a bun, and calm authority, read the verdict aloud. Elias didn't flinch. He simply turned to Vega in the gallery and mouthed, "Every ending is a beginning." Months passed. The town of Stillwater tried to move on. New students arrived, old wounds were bandaged but not healed. The house on Aspen Ridge was torn down, the land turned into a garden of remembrance. Yet every year, on the anniversary, fresh flowers appeared at the site. No one knew who left them. In a maximum security cell upstate, Elias Ward sat at his desk, writing. He had become a model inmate, tutoring others, maintaining eerie composure. When a guard asked what he was writing, Elias said, "A thesis. About endings." In Stillwater, Detective Vega visited the garden alone. He placed a candle beneath a plaque bearing 4 names, then glanced toward the sky. For a moment, he thought he saw movement, a figure in a gray coat standing just beyond the fence. But when he blinked, it was gone. He whispered, "Some endings don't end." And in a silent cell miles away, Elias Ward smiled, closing his notebook. Years later, Stillwater University launched a forensic psychology program in the victim's honor. Students studied DNA, behavioral profiling, and digital forensics, the very tools that caught their killer. A framed photo of the 4 friends hung in the department hallway. Maya's bright smile, Lena's camera in hand, Chris's guitar slung over his shoulder, Jordan's shy grin. Sometimes, when the janitor locked up late at night, he swore he heard faint laughter from that hallway, young voices echoing through memory. Stillwater had learned to live again. But its silence would always speak.